Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Daily Bread Radio Show on the air. We had to switch out some technical equipment. So I think I'm back and I'm ready to roll. We're gonna turn on all our cameras. We're gonna get back on camera too.
Right. Hopefully I'm helping some people.
Now let's switch this out. Let's switch this out. Go to audio recording. Let's go there. So now we're gonna go to, oh no, I don't want that. Let's come out of that. It's hard, but this one, I miss you. I miss you, boy. I miss my producer when he ain't here. Be talking about him. But when he ain't here, I'll be like missing him. So we back on the air. We in the home studio, so we're gonna give everybody a few minutes to join back in. We was having some good dialogue there about things that's going on with the show, where we're gonna be going, what we're gonna be doing. So now we're back live. It's 8:20, and we still talking about things that matter most to you and to the world. So one of the things that we left off talking about was things that are going to be. We getting some thumbs up. We getting some thumbs up. See how that work? Why we just switch it up and be like, hey, we ain't gonna stop. We ain't gonna stop. See, I could have quit. I could have been like, man, it this. But you know what we do? Throw out one, grab another one, boom, bam, we back on. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and do what I did before. Make sure I put the call-in number in because we was having some very good dialogue. Ashley, I see you back on. I'll be looking for my brother Bert Cool to be joining pretty soon. So one of the things I'm going to just boom. Tell you every day, I'm getting vicious with this thing. But one of the things that we were talking about was an app or a process or something that we're working on that we can put in place that's going to help a lot of people. The thing that we're working on is truly, truly phenomenal. I mean, truly phenomenal. I see my cousin just joined. I see my sister-in-law just joined. My cousin-in-law, but I call her, she's my sister anyway. But y'all call into the show, 404-461-9368. And so let me start over again with the Daily Bread Radio Show. And one of the things that I want to say, which I started off with before we were having the technical difficulties. If you're in the Caribbean, if you're in Florida, if you're in Houston, if you've been impacted by the storms of recent weeks, our prayers, our thoughts, everything is going out to you from the Daily Bread Radio Show to you all. You know, I hope everything is going to be a slow process, but I want you all to stay faithful, stay steadfast in God, and know that with God, everything is possible. And this is not to deviate because we're going to get back to that topic that we were talking about with the caller Ashley. But one of the things I was thinking about this morning, even in the midst of Harvey, Irma, all these different storms, the earthquakes and everything, the one thing I thought about was this. Do you realize it could have been worse? Do you realize when Irma was coming through the Caribbean, that right behind it was another hurricane? Do you realize that another hurricane could have came through and hit Florida right behind the first one? So even though it's a ton of devastation, and one thing about me, I'm definitely not what you would call a hypocrite. So I'm not going to say, oh, I know how it is to be without power and water and lights for 3 or 4 days. I empathize with you. So I can't say that I know. I know it's very inconvenient, but I do know. One thing I do know is this. God is still in the blessing business. And it could have been worse. What if Jose elevated to a category 4 and then came right behind Irma with, a category 4, category 5, and just cleaned up all the stuff that Irma bypassed? It could have been much worse. So I'm just saying, I'll take the blessing. I'll take the fact that he spared a lot of demise for a lot of people. And a lot of people was praying. And guess what happened? That storm was coming towards Florida, and then it went up and out. So I want everybody to be saying, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for turning it up and out and not right into Florida. So that was something I was thinking about early today, and just want to make sure that we don't lose sight of when we have the blessings. The number to call into the show is 404-461-9368. If you see me kind of pivoting, I got a home studio. I got a camera on the left. I got one here on right here in front of me. So I'm like switching up. But I know we got cut off. So the Michael Vick jersey. I know Michael Vick is, you know, in another chapter of his life, but this jersey represents the success that we had in 2009. And from a history standpoint, if you think about 2009, in January of 2009, that's when Barack Obama took office. 2009. He won the election in 2008. He moved into the White House. Slippers, shoes, them cigarettes. Barack out of office now, but you know, Barack had them Newports back there on the back porch of the Oval Office next to that grill. But you know, 2009 was very powerful, and Michael Vick got his second chance. So the Eagles signed Michael Vick. He was able to resurrect his career, have, you know, add some longevity to his career, and really just get back into the game. So this represents that. I'm not a big fan of jerseys, but this jersey, I could wear this, and no, some people, they thought it was for Michael Vick, but I wanted to say it was a success, and the history and the accomplishment of the black man in 2009. So that's why I keep this around. I'm always have this one. So this is what this. So if you see me out somewhere wearing this, that's what it is. It's not Michael Vick and the Eagles, because I'm not a big Eagles fan, but it is about what I call 2009 was the year of the black man. So going back to the earlier question, are we looking at creating any kind of apps or any kind of programs or things that where we could sit down and help individuals on a one-on-one basis, or talk to them about different things that they're going through from a personal finance standpoint? And the emphatic answer to that is yes, we are. Me and my team are working on something that's so powerful that just in theory, when you think about it and you talk about it in theory, it's so powerful and positive that it's something that I know is going to be a huge success. And we were talking about millennials earlier. And one of the things that I want to put out about millennials are really getting a bad rap in the workplace. A lot of times they say millennials are antisocial. They're really independent. They want to be individual, but that's their generation. That's just one part of their character. One thing I can tell you about millennials is this: Daily Bread Radio Show, my email, my text, people reaching out to me. I get a lot of questions from millennials about personal finance. How can I improve my credit? How can I deal with a collection? How do I negotiate a payoff? How can I buy a car? What's the best way for me to go about finding out about finance? So they got a plethora of questions, and they're just eager to find out the answers to these questions. And these are young people, 23, 24, 25. And I'm going to share a story with you all. And one thing about me, and I always talk to you all about this, don't believe nothing that I say, right? What I always say is go do your research. So if you hear something on the Daily Bread Radio Show, don't go run out, say, oh, well, Joaquin said on Daily Bread Radio Show that in 2010, that was the best year to be in the stock. Don't take what I say. I'm a vessel of information. I bring information to you, the audience. We have a dialogue. I talk to people about things that are on their mind, things that are going on in the world, and tie it all back into personal finance. Because my belief is this: no matter what profession you're in, you could be butcher, you could be a pro athlete, you could be a ballet dancer, you could be a surgeon, you could be a truck driver. You name the profession, it doesn't matter. Whatever profession that you're in, whatever phase of life that you're in, you have to know personal finance, period. It's nobody exempt. You could be a monk in a monastery. You have to know about personal finance. You could be an astronaut on the moon. You have to know about personal finance. So my role is to bring you all information and just I want you to just think about the stuff that I talk about. I want you to marinate on it. So don't take what I'm saying as the gospel. What I'm challenging you to do is go out and research it for yourself. Then if you research it and it confirms what I'm saying to you, then call into the show or send me, an email at Daily Bread Radio Show, at yahoo.com, or you can hit me on Twitter, Daily Bread Radio, at Joaquin Thompson Sr. Let me know the feedback and let me know that you've gone out and you've researched that information. So now you know what I was saying is correct. So long intro to, are we going to do something to help individuals? We are. Now, one of the things that where we are right now, we're in what we call the market research phase. So what we want to do is we've developed, my team that's working with me, a group of people, we've developed a platform or a suite of services that is very valuable. But before you launch into something, you always want to do some market research. So a lot of people that I see on here, I see my wife, I see Lisa, I see Ashley, I see my cousin. I may be reaching out to you with a simple question. I'm going to give you a list of services that we're going to offer. And those lists of services, and I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think a person is going to be willing to pay on a monthly basis? A subscription service, similar to AAA. And that's really what we developed it after, AAA. You're going to have different levels. You're going to have, like AAA. AAA has the classic, and then, of course, they have the premium service. So we're going to have the same. We're going to have what we call our basic package. We're going to have a silver, a gold, and a platinum package. Or those names may change, but something along those other 3 levels. So that we want to give people the opportunity to choose where they feel comfortable in paying for this service on a monthly basis. So you may not be ready for the platinum service or the gold service, but you say, hey, you know what, I'll take the silver. So I'm going to reach out to all of you all, and I want to get your feedback as to, and this is just market research. What would a person be willing to pay? So the question becomes, what type of services are you going to offer? So we did some brainstorming earlier this week, did some more last night. We've been really in the lab. So I'm going to just throw out some samples of things that we're going to be working on. We're going to have a newsletter. We're going to have a podcast. We're going to have a service that's going to help you not only get your bills organized, but keep your bills organized. We're going to have a service where you can receive reminders. You can get a text reminder, email reminder, or you may even want to get a text, email, and phone reminder, because sometimes some people, no matter how many times you tell them, they still forget. So we're going to have that service in place. You're going to have the opportunity to participate in a debt club. What's a debt club? A debt club is similar to, say, Weight Watchers. This is a group of individuals that really want to eliminate debt and really want to, hold each other accountable. So that way, when you're in a debt club, I come to the debt club and I say, well, Ashley, I know you're working on your Visa account. Has your Visa account gone up or gone down since the last time we spoke? And what have you been doing, or what have you been putting towards that? So it's kind of like losing weight or gaining weight. So we're going to have a scale, and the scale is going to be the group of people, and we're going to all hold each other accountable. So like I always say, it's really not about how many. You only need one. So I'm one. I'm going to be in the club because I need to be in there because I'm working on some stuff myself. So I'll be in, and then we're going to have some other people that are going to be in as well. In addition to those services, here's one of the key. This is going to be an outstanding service. People are going to have the opportunity. People that are in the subscription service are going to have the opportunity to access a group of experts. Now, it's going to be a whole lot of other services going to be listed, but I want to stop right here for a moment and share with you all how powerful this is and how valuable this is, especially for millennials. Think about the last time that you went out and purchased, and we're going to just use auto purchase for an example, but it could be a home purchase too. Think about the last time that you went out and purchased a vehicle and the process that you went through. But to take it a little deeper, think about when you were young, because I know a lot of people that are on, on Facebook Live or to tune into the show, they're in my generation, 50 plus, 45 plus, 40 plus. But think back to when you were 21, 22, 23, and you were getting ready to buy your first car, or you were getting ready to buy another car, or even buy a house or condo or something, right? What comes into play is this. Sometimes people have the opportunity to have a parent as a resource, or a family member as a resource, or a friend as a resource. But sometimes, many times, people don't have the opportunity to have a resource. So what we're going to offer is we are in the process of contracting with, I guess that would be the best word. We're in the process of contracting with different experts, attorneys, realtors, car salesmen, finance experts, certified financial planners. And these are not people who, I'm not talking about people who do this on the side. I'm talking about people who do this full time, people who are some of the top, they're some of the top experts in their field. So the thing that the value that they're going to bring is that, say if you do need an attorney for whatever reason, these are people that you're going to be able to ask questions to. You may be able to have a phone consultation, and you're going to have access to be able to utilize these services by being a member of the subscription service. So one of the things that came into play yesterday, my youngest daughter came home, and I know she's right outside the home studio, so she won't mind me sharing this with you all. She came home with this look in her eyes, and I've seen that look before because I've had that look, and I know what that look looks like. So I was looking at her as she was coming in and was talking to me, but she had this starry-eyed look, and I was like, I've seen that look before. And what it was, she had what's known as the fever, what I call as the fever. And you may be asking yourself, what's the fever? Here's the fever. I'm going to explain the fever to you. When you see something that you really want, that you really, really have a desire for, it could be a person, it could be an inanimate object, it could be a car, it could be a job, it could be a purse, pair of shoes, a jersey, Jordans. It could be a number of things. But once you get it fixed in your mind, like, I really want to have that. I want that. What happens is it starts off pretty slow, kind of minor at first, almost like, having a health condition. Starts off minor, but then over time, what happens is it develops rapid, meaning if you really want this thing, you start to really, it kind of permeates in your mind, and it starts to push everything else out. That's all you can really think about. Either this house or this car or this purse or this jersey or this, whatever this is. So my daughter had that look when she came in talking to me yesterday, was, throwing out some keywords. And so come to find out, the way she told me was this. She said, I was going to the store, and on my way back from the store, I just happened to be passing by the car dealership. And as I was passing by the car dealership, I figured, why don't I go out and test drive a car? So when she said that, I'm listening. I'm like, ooh, sound like she got the fever. So we had a little bit more dialogue, and come to find out, I confirmed it. I diagnosed her because I'm a certified financial expert. So I know the fever. I know all the symptoms of the fever. So I told her, I was like, well, we really need to think about this and start laying out these different strategies. Now, one thing I can tell you about when somebody have a fever, one thing I can tell you about is when somebody has a fever, sometimes you don't have time to implement your strategy. So you have to act fast. This is like CPR. Like, you got to jump right in there, make sure their airway is clear, and make sure that they're breathing and that they got some circulation. Sometimes you got to just jump right in there and be like, wait a minute, this ain't, we don't have time for a long strategy. We got to jump right on this. So me and her was having a conversation, and she was like, well, when you get off from work, why don't we go up to the dealership? But I had already told her the different options. Hey, I got this expert over here. He can help us. Hey, we got this young lady in Florida. She's a guru on finance and auto finance. She's a guru. I'll reach out to him. I tried to call him. I tried to use my lifeline, and what would happen? When you need to use your lifeline, what happened? Goes to voicemail. So I called my expert, went to voicemail, and that fever was building. So I said, you know what? I'll go with you. I'll go. We'll go out and talk to the car salesman about whatever you're looking at. So we go to the dealership. I always go unassuming. I don't, be dressed up. I don't, have nothing flashy on. I threw on my sweatshirt, went up there with her. and let her take the lead. Like I'm just there, and really I'm there to advise, but I'm acting like I'm not really interested in what's going on until we get down to talking about the seriousness of the purchase, which is the numbers, the terms, and things of that nature. Now, so I went in, she sat down with the guy. They've already run her credit. They already know what they can and can't do, right? So I'm going in, I'm like, she's looking at this car. I'm looking at asking the guy, how can I get a Corvette? Don't need a Corvette, not in the market for a Corvette. Again, just small talk. But just to kind of get them at ease. So that way you don't go in, it's kind of like being in a hospital and telling a person you're a nurse or a doctor, or being in a legal situation and saying, you know, I am an attorney. That just puts everybody on the defensive, like, all right, I'm ready. So what you want to do is you want to bring them down so that way they can put their guard down, and now we can interact. You want to be non-threatening. So I was just there letting them dialogue. They going back and forth. So the young salesman, he brings out his numbers, and I look at the sheet, and he had added in stuff like, you need, you gonna get for $289 if your seats start to fade. And keep in mind, these are some beige seats, so I don't know how much more fading was gonna go on with these seats. But he said, if your seats start to fade, we'll apply something to them that will bring back the color for $289. And we're going to add in a UV coating to your car so that way the sun won't, beam through the windows, and that's going to be another $1,200. And I was like, she don't need that. Like, why don't we take that out? And then his first response to me was, listen to this one now, we have to put it into the price of the car. And I said, no, you don't have to. So he runs off, talks to the finance manager, comes back. He said, you know what? Took it out. Here's your number. I said, oh, perfect. So we go through the process, and I already know how this is going to play out. If you go to a car dealership, you always, unless you come pre-approved, check in hand, you already know what you can afford. You already have the check from the credit union or from your banking institution. That's the only way that you're going to avoid going to what I call the office. And the office is the finance office. So no matter how much talking you do with the salesman, that's the first quarter and the second quarter. But before the game is over, you're going to end up in the office with the finance manager. Finance manager he's going to come by, give you a little pat on the shoulder. Hey, doing good? Yeah, okay. Just kind of inserting himself, because he's teeing you up. He's disarming you. So that way, when you get into the office, he can go ahead and take care of his business, do what he needs to do. So went in with my daughter. They start running the numbers. Now this is the finance guy for the dealership. I looked at the sheet. I said, nah, I don't think these are the right numbers. And he looked at me. He was like, yeah, they right. Basically, like, I know what I'm doing. I do this all the time. And I was like, well, if you add it up, because they give you a long list. I said, if you add it up, these don't add up to this number. And he went back and looked at it. Long story short, I had him rerun the numbers on 3 different contracts because what he was saying was incorrect. Now, the reason that's important is this service that we're going to offer one-on-one counseling for anyone that's getting ready to go buy a car. Take them through the whole buying process, tell them what they need to have in hand before they even get to the dealership, have them pre-approved through our relationships with different banking institutions, or we can work through their banking institution of choice. But the key is going to be to have the expert with you. And with you may not be physically with you. We're going to offer service, if need be, in the local area or in your local area. We have representatives in that area where they can go to the dealership with you, or we can just do it virtually. You tell us what you're looking for, what type of car, what type of payments, all these things that you need to know before you get to the dealership. And we'll do that before you even get to the salesman. So now you will go in and you'll be dealing with the salesman from a position of authority. Because it's nothing like going in. It's one thing to go in and say, hey, I don't know my credit score. I don't know what I could qualify for. I don't know how much car I can afford. I know I got a job and I want a car. And you leave it all up to them. You put yourself at the mercy of someone they ready to eat, and you the entree. That's what we always talk about on the Daily Bread. You're the entree. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that you're well equipped. So in this scenario, what ended up happening was, I think all in all, between the salesman and by the time we walked out of the dealership, I know I saved my daughter on this purchase at least $7,000 to $8,000. And I know you may say, wow, that's a lot of money, $7,000 to $8,000. That might be a stretch, or you may be exaggerating. So I always like to, it's nothing like documentation, right? So what I did was, while the finance manager was going through, his spiel about why the numbers are right and then they were wrong, and he was going back and forth, he kind of lost sight of which contract he had already printed out and which ones we had, which ones he had. And so as he was talking, I just, very calmly folded up the contract and set it to the side. So we kept talking. He did another one wrong. I folded it up, set it to the side, because I knew I wanted to bring it and have it for an example for my listening audience. Now, the other thing that I shared with my daughter was this. If you ever went to purchase a car, here's pretty much what it looks like. This is the document, right? So now, just to show you how funny this is, here's one. Let me get this. Here's one that he had. This is one version. This is version 2, because he kept one. This is version 3. Now, the thing that's funny about these type of documents, so I'm going to put this up here so you all can see that. The thing that's funny about these documents, then you see down here where you have to sign your initial, right? I have to go in reverse. See right here where you have to sign your initial. When you initial this document, what you're saying is, yes, I have read it, I understand it, and I'm ready to move forward, right? And they have one on the front of the document. Kind of looks like this, right? They give you all of the verbiage, and then they say, it's right here. You initial, right, that you read this document. But here's a news flash. And I asked the finance manager, I said, of all the people that come in here and purchase a car, how many people take the time, because this is a serious purchase. You're going to purchase a vehicle for a certain number of years. I said, how many people take the time to read this document in its entirety, read everything, because this pertains to you. I said, how many people, I already knew the answer. So how many people read that document so they will understand their rights, their responsibilities, what they're going to be responsible for? I said, how many people read that? He said, 99% of the people never read it. He said, the only thing people want are the keys to that car. That's it. They're not really concerned about the numbers. They're not concerned about the interest. They're not looking at how it's calculated. So one of the questions that my daughter had yesterday was like, I don't understand interest. I don't really know how that's calculated. I said, well, it can be calculated differently depending on the type of product that you have, right? But what I showed her was that right here in section 1B, it tells you exactly how interest is calculated. It says, well, actually it's 1A. How will we figure finance charge? We will figure the finance charge on a daily basis at the annual percentage rate on the unpaid part of the amount financed. So in layman's terms, what that means is you're going to be paying interest. And this is something that you need to know. You're going to be paying interest on a daily basis. So what does that mean? That means they break your interest rate down so that every day that you have an outstanding balance, an outstanding principal, an outstanding financed amount, you're getting charged a small percentage of interest every day that when you accumulate it all, it comes up to your annual percentage rate. So you might say, what's your interest rate? My interest rate is 13% annually, but they've broken it down over days. So the longer that you take to pay that loan off, you're paying interest on a daily basis. So we came up with this strategy and said, well, hey, before we even left the dealership, and I said it in front of him, the thing that you want to do is you want to attack the principal, because the interest rate matters. It does matter, but you control how much you end up paying through the life of the loan. So if you attack the principal and start bringing that principal amount down very quickly by adding additional payments, right? Then what you'll do is, in effect, you will neutralize whatever your interest rate is. You may have a 20% interest rate. You may have a 15%. But if you brought that principal down quickly over a year, then your interest is only going to be calculated on the outstanding balance. So a lot of people might say, well, oh, I know that. Oh, I could do this. But here's the thing. If you don't know the dance that they do when you go to purchase that car, because I thought about it in a different term, and I asked my daughter this, what if you came up here by yourself to buy this car and went through that whole process? Do you think you would have had the insight to know all these different things that I just showed you in this one short process of a car purchase? And a car purchase is very, very important, because for some people, that's one of your biggest purchases next to buying a house or a condo or whatever your shelter is. So it's very, very important. So the question becomes, would it be beneficial to be a part of a program that at any given time, you may want to get an expert's opinion, where we have salesmen that are part of the expert panel that you can reach out to and say, you know what, I'm looking to buy a house. We got realtors. Or I'm looking to get a mortgage. We have mortgage brokers. Wouldn't it be very awesome to be able to talk to a mortgage broker before you get into the deal and pull your credit and all of these things, but have somebody behind the scenes having a conversation with you, because you know your credit score. You've gone out to Equifax.com or Credit Karma. You know what's going on, and now you're prepared before you even get to the point of developing a fever. Because once you develop that fever, everything else kind of gets short-circuited. You ain't listening to reason. You don't want to hear that. You want that purse. You fixated on that purse. There's no logic going to go into why you're not going to get it. You're going to get whatever you had that fever for. So that's going to be one of the services that we're going to offer as part of the subscription. Again, it's like AAA. AAA may not be valuable until you lock your keys in the car and it's late at night. Then it becomes extremely valuable. May not be valuable until you have a flat tire on the side of a highway. You know, husband's on, he's out of town on a business trip, you can't reach your friend right away. Then it becomes super valuable, because now you can call AAA and AAA will come and, attend to your needs. So it's the same thing with personal finance. You are going to have problems. You are going to have issues. You are going to come in contact with the system. So before you go in and you try to deal with an expert, why not take a team of people with you, so that way you walk out at least with the best deal that you can, or one of the better deals that you can have, as opposed to, taking on all of those knots. Because if you go in there and you don't know what you're doing, they will take advantage of you. And that's just the way that it goes. So long story, but it brings a lot of value to I guess you would say, the different programs that we're developing for the listening audience, and for the, I guess you would say, for people at large, for people that are looking for an opportunity to improve their credit, negotiate some settlements, get rid of some debt, find out all these different strategies. It would be very good to have an expert opinion on it. We're getting close to the top of the hour, and I'm going to add 10 minutes onto the show because we had that technical difficulty. So we got about 20 minutes left. So you can call into the show. The call-in number is 404-461-9368, 404-461-9368. I would love to hear from you. I see my cousin on, Alicia. Give me a call. Let me know what's going on in Orlando. And, I see Lisa on, and I know it's a lot of other people that are on, and sometimes Facebook, they show up and sometimes they don't. But like I always say, it don't matter the numbers, because once the information goes out into the atmosphere, then we're good, because it's going to get to where it needs to be, and it's going to get recirculated. Because a lot of people will come back and say, hey, I was watching the game, but I came back and I caught your show. So that's why I always don't want to shortchange anybody, and I don't want to say, oh, it's not 200 people on, so I'm doing this show like if it was 10,000 people on every week. And if it's 10 million people on, and not, it could be one, it could just be me some weeks, but I'm going to continue to do it and continue to spread the information so that way we can help some people out. The number to the show is 404-461-9368, 404-461-9368. The other thing that I want to talk about tonight is learning from the past. And one of the things that, and we just touched on it a little bit, is learning from the past will really equip you for the future. But the thing that you want to make sure that you do is you win and you learn. You don't win and lose. You win and you learn. And one of the things that you want to always keep in mind is when you learn these different lessons in life, no matter how difficult, you have to learn the lesson and apply it in the future. So the worst thing that you can do is to have a lesson where in your mind, quote unquote, you felt like you lost some money, you lost a friendship, you lost whatever you lost. You feel bad about it, you feel embarrassed, whatever. The thing that you want to do is learn from whatever happened in that situation and apply it in the future. May seem very simple and very straightforward, but you will be surprised at how many people that I speak to that share things with me that have made the same mistake over and over and over again. Whereas I say, if you learn from it, no matter how bad it is, because in order for you to be a success, you have to be a failure first. You have to be a failure before you could be a success. So a lot of people think they're just going to go right out and boom, you going on to superstardom. It don't work that way. You got to put in some time. You got to put in some hard work, some blood, some sweat, some tears. And then you do that over a period of time, you sow that seed, and then you're going to be successful. But you have to make sure that you learn from the past. And that brings me to my last topic, which is what I call, we have to learn how to play outside the lines. And what I mean by that is the riskiest place to be in life is playing what I call inside the lines, or playing it safe. A lot of people want to play it safe. Right? They don't want to run in traffic. They don't. So I'm not talking about that kind of stuff, because of course you want to be smart about what you do. But at the same time, if you're really ready to move and go to the next level, if you're really ready to achieve something that you've never achieved before, you're going to have to get outside the lines. And outside the lines is not where everyone is. It's not where you're going to find a consensus of people. You're going to have to be the contrarian to what everybody else is doing. If everybody is eating steak, you're going to have to eat salad. If everybody's going, partying all weekend, it's Labor Day weekend, we're going to do this, you're going to have to go to the library. So you're going to have to make sure that you're doing something that's outside the line, and be courageous enough to say, you know what, I got an idea, I think it'll work, regardless of what I'm talking about, regardless of what other people say to me, I'm going to try it. And when I try it, if it doesn't work, then what? I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to recreate it, and I'm going to try it again. And my plan is to just keep trying until I get to the point where I am a huge success. I am at the top of the mountain. I can do what I want to do because it's worth it. Because the thing about this too is, oh, we got a caller. Thank you for calling the Daily Bread Radio Show. This is Joaquin. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, cuz. This is Alicia, calling from Florida.
What's up, girl? How you doing?
Nothing. How you doing? I had a chance. Due to the hurricane, our classes were canceled, so I had a break from teaching class tonight.
Okay.
So I was able to catch your show.
Oh,
and I'm so grateful. And this is an awesome show.
Hey.
I'm learning so much from you, even at my older age.
Girl, go on with that. You ain't old. Don't even, because I mean, if you old, I'm old.
I didn't say old. I said older age.
Oh, older age. Okay. I forgot you. I know you a stickler on the word. So, you know, with you being in the profession that you in, see, I'm one of them type of people. I just, it all matters. But with you, it's life or death. So you a stickler on the word and where they're placed at. So I appreciate that.
Specific.
That's, you know what I'm saying?
I wanted to jump in and just say, I think this is an awesome show, and it's so many people who need to learn from you and the experience that you have, the wisdom that you have, particularly when it comes to that area of finance and just debt reduction and planning, financial planning, etc. I know that I had the experience where I had to learn at the back end about planning for care of the elderly.
Okay.
And I think that that's important for us all to understand because, you know, we love our mamas and daddies.
Oh, no doubt.
A lot of them did not plan early about what would happen and how they could be cared for when they become elderly and aren't able to care for themselves.
Correct.
And there's a large financial responsibility in caring for them when they are older. And that can lead to debt. That can lead to a significant issue with debt when you're trying to care for your parents. And all the other care that they may need when they get older. So I think that at some point when you get a chance, something that might be helpful also to your listeners to kind of think about that and plan for that in advance. It's a hard issue to talk about.
Yep. But
it definitely is something that we all need to think about earlier than later.
Oh, definitely. That's an excellent point. And you're absolutely right. And that's something, it goes right along with something that I've talked about on a previous show, which is, you know, planning for the inevitable. Because a lot of times those type of conversations, if they take place when we're in fairly good health, then we don't really have an appreciation for it because we think that we're going to live forever. We think we're going to have the same level of mobility forever. But when it comes and now it's time for those decisions to be made, like you're saying, we haven't planned for the caretakers and all of the things that go into, because the other thing about mom and dad, we want to make sure that mom and dad have nothing but the best. So we're not going to let them, you know, suffer. They're not going to want for anything because now we feel like they did it for us when they were bringing us up. So now that's the least I can do is make sure that you know, your pillows are fluffed and you got somebody in to, you know, come in, help you, you know, bathe and wash and do all these different things.
Right.
But it can take a financial toll.
Our own lives and our own profession.
Right.
And all the other responsibilities that we have. But you know my daddy and my daddy got a certain standard of living. You got to keep, you know, King James up there.
I wasn't gonna say that. I wasn't gonna say nothing about my uncle, but I think I have to bring that up on another show. That's my dude, man. That's my dude. That's my Uncle Billy. But that's real. That's real. And it doesn't matter what field that you're in or what profession, is life and is what we live in. So you're right. On an upcoming show, that's something that we will talk about. I know that's part of your financial plan. And even for us, because now we're talking about our parents, but then we got to start thinking about, you know, the generation that's behind us. So
for your kids.
Right. So I always joke.
We don't want to leave our kids in the same situation we might find ourselves in at this moment. So it's time to talk about it. And, you know, we're particularly at that point of the whole, we're at the end of the baby boomers, but, you know, we still need to discuss that.
Right.
And have that. So I may have missed your show when you talked about it before because I was
No, you ain't missed. Hey, I know you. Hey, you the ultimate grinder now. So I'm not even gonna talk about that. But I appreciate you, you know, taking the time, you know, since you didn't have class. Hopefully everything is getting back to some normalcy in Central Florida. We definitely are praying and thinking about everybody that was impacted by Irma and also the people in Houston. We want to keep everybody because, like I mentioned earlier, Jose was right behind Irma. So we still got blessed. And even when we think things are, didn't go the way that we wanted to, it could have been a 1-2 punch, and that would have been much worse than where we are today. So we want to remain encouraged and be thankful. So and cuz I appreciate you, calling to the show. You know I love you.
Stay in prayer.
Oh, definitely. And I love you, girl. You take care of yourself.
Well, I love you, boy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Always.
Take care. You're doing a great thing here. Keep it up.
Oh, no doubt. I appreciate you.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. So that was a very, very, very important topic, and I know we're at the top of the hour. And like I said, I'll go over a little bit tonight because we had a we had an technical issue when we first got on, but that's something that's very serious, the care of the elderly and preparing for that, and also preparing for our own, 20 years from now, I'll be 70, 20 years from now, some of my friends are going to be 75. So you would think that you're going to be a young 70 or 75, you getting around, because you may have an aunt, uncle, they 73, they still getting around. Like my mother-in-law is I think she's an anomaly, because this young lady is, and I say young lady with a serious tone, because she's 80 plus years old and she gets around like the best of them. So I always joke with her that she's been highly blessed, truly blessed from that standpoint, because a lot of people in her peer group are being cared for. But, we're going to have to think about that. Think about things like long-term care insurance. Right now, you ain't thinking about it because you're like, I don't want to pay no $300 a month right now because I don't want to, but you got to think about it. I got 3 kids. I'm trying to be nice to them. Because I hope they take me and my wife, but knowing them, they might take me, and I end up, me and my son, or me and my youngest daughter, or me and my oldest daughter have my wife at somewhere. So I don't know if they're gonna take both of us, at the same time. So I'm hoping that we go as a package deal. But I mean, in all seriousness, those are the type of things that we need to be thinking about, so that way we don't leave that unintentional. Well, not unintentional, that's not a word. Unintentional burden on the family members that are coming behind us, because we didn't take the time to be a little bit more proactive and do the things that we need to do, so that way we can live a happy and prosperous and a successful life. So definitely want to keep that on our radar as well. So with that being said, it's 9:07. I'm going to leave the phone lines open for a little while longer. 404-461-9368. We was talking about being outside the lines, and I know she don't want me to do this, but I'll close the show with using the young lady that just called. And this is my cousin. This is my first cousin in Orlando, and she's a historical sister. I mean, she's very, very humble. So I know she's going to probably call me after the show's over, like, why are you talking about me? But just a little short snippet about this sister. Grew up from Miami, grew up in Miami, and not the upper echelon, not Coral Gables, but I'm talking about she grew up in a rough part of Miami. And but my uncle, her father, was more like a visionary, even though they were living in a certain part of town, or even though, I remember going to their crib when I was a kid, and it was so rough where they lived that, like, he would have the windows, people putting burglar bars up. Now he took it to another level. He put some plywood up to the windows. Like, you weren't getting into his crib, and if you did get in there, he had enough stuff in there for you where he wasn't going to be, intimidated from a fear standpoint, So, but he worked outside the lines. I mean, this is a brother who, he had hair care products. He started a hair care products company in the 70s. Had a pharmacy, trying to buy a TV station. Just always had really big thinking, and always was playing outside the lines, because one thing about him, he never let anybody tell him what wasn't possible, especially for an African-American man. So kudos to him. And that's one of the things that I always want to talk about. And it went down into his kids, both his son and daughter. The young lady just called in. She was one of the first appointed African-American judges in Orange County. I believe it's Orange County, in Orlando. So I won't be misquoted on the county, but in Orlando. So this is this sister is bad, you know, and I'm not just saying it because she's my cousin, but just from a African-American standpoint, this is a bad girl, you know, a judge. And we don't really talk about things like that a lot, but those are the type of things that we need to champion, because we always see so much negativity and what we're not doing and this, that, and other. And her father, he was the epitome of a hustler. So I'm saying that to say the things that we do today do impact generations to come, because not only you, but your children and your children's children. I know you think y'all thought I forgot, but I didn't forget, because you know every week we do book of the week, because the reason I do a book of the week is going back to the quote that I shared with you all from Benjamin Franklin. No man will live long enough to learn and know everything that he needs to in order to be successful. Therefore, you have to learn from other people. This book right here, now I know y'all like to laugh at me because a couple people say, man, why you bring all of them books you got on there? Why you bring them old raggedy books out? But I bring them out for a reason. This is a book that, and I'll show you the inscription, the author of the book, Blair Walker, which he was the brother-in-law to Reginald Lewis. Now, this is the title of the book. Why should white guys have all of the fun? How Reginald Lewis created $1 billion business empire. Now, I'm gonna hit you all with, I'm gonna go into overtime. I'm gonna give y'all 4 more minutes. I just said Reginald F. Lewis. It says billionaire. Now, I'm gonna hit you with this one, and you could probably put this out on your Instagram, Facebook, or what have you. I would venture to say that the majority of people that you talk to, they've never even heard of Reginald Lewis. And this says what? This ain't say the first multimillionaire. What does this say? That says billion with a B, $1 billion empire. I would encourage you to go out to Amazon.com and pick up this book. Why should white guys have all of the fun? And this book is about a brother named Reginald Lewis that went to a historical black college, Virginia State. And this man did something that has never been done before in the history. Listen to this now. And like we talked about earlier, don't believe me. Get the book, read the book, and do your research. Reginald Lewis was the only, and is, as far as I know, because I don't know if anybody has done it since. He went to Virginia State undergrad, and he told his family that he wanted to go to law school. So when he told them he wanted to go to law school, they were like, okay, but we don't have no money. We don't have the means. So how are you going to do this? He said, I'm going to law school, right? Reginald Lewis, and this is in the book. So if it's not true, then it's in the book, and that's where I got it from. So you research it, you tell me, but it's so profound that I'm going to repeat it for you. Reginald Lewis is the only person in the history of Harvard, listen to what I'm saying to you, Harvard Law School, not Harvard College, not undergrad, not business and psychology and poli-sci. He's the only person in the history of Harvard Law School to be admitted to the program without taking the LSAT or going through the admissions process. No, can't be. Read the book. And he built $1 billion empire. And you know of his product, because I know in Florida, I'm gonna bring some of you all back. I used to have an aunt, and I go to her house. Every time I go to her house, back in the 70s, they used to have these patterns. It was called McCall. MCCALL. McCall, and it'd be a little packet where you go to the store, the fabric store, and you could buy sewing patterns. Some people sew on their sewing machine. Like my grandmother had a sewing machine. All my aunts had sewing machines and that kind of stuff. And you would get the McCall pattern. This brother was the owner of McCall. Now, the thing about McCall that makes it deep is this. What a lot of people don't realize is McCall was a multinational company that he purchased, and he purchased it with money from a person that he met by the name of Michael Milken. Now, you go and do your research. Michael Milken is best known as being who? The junk bond king of Wall Street. Michael Milken was one of the pioneers of how to use junk bonds to leverage debt to acquire businesses and other assets. And he did it so good that they were like, you know what? You need to go to jail for this. And he went to jail for it. But one of the people that provided the funds for Reginald Lewis to buy his business was Michael Milken, the junk bond king. So if you want a good book, if you want to know some history, go pick up Watch It. White Guys Have All of the Fun. I'm fortunate. Now, I always show you all. Now, this book is really broken up because I read it maybe like 5 times. I mean, it's falling apart. I apologize for that. But it just goes to show you that books have information that is going to be, it's for a lifetime. You can always go back and read it. And every time you go back and read a book, you're going to get a different understanding because your mind has grown. So with that being said, I've given you all the book of the week. I'm going to talk more about our partnership with the American Financial Literacy Association next week. So we're doing some great things. We're going to be providing some scholarships to college students that have exhausted their funds and are in jeopardy of not being able to graduate. So that's going to be a big one. I'll make sure that I bring you all up to speed on that next week. Because what we're doing is we have Falcon tickets that we purchased. And what we've done is we've taken the Falcon tickets, and I think this is a unique concept. We've taken the Falcon tickets, and what we're going to do is we're going to offer the Falcon tickets to individuals that want to purchase them, and the proceeds are going to go to creating scholarships for college students that have exhausted all of their funds and are at risk of not graduating. These funds are going to be earmarked for college seniors in their graduating year because it's a phenomenon going on within the country, not only in historical Black colleges, but at other colleges and universities where students are not able to pay that final bill and get financially cleared for graduation. Then they end up not graduating. So what we're going to do is we're going to create some scholarships where we're going to provide that gap, that stopgap, that 6,000, that 7,000, what have you. So we're going to have a great program that's going to be tied into season tickets. And we also just got approved, again, in conjunction with the American Financial Literacy Association, to have a raffle. So we're going to have a huge raffle. I know we're going to do the Dallas game, the Dallas Cowboys. We also are doing the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins games, where organizations, churches, people are going to be able to participate in raffles, partner with the American Financial Literacy Association. And the proceeds from those raffles are going to go towards creating scholarships for graduating seniors in colleges throughout this country. So with that being said, I want to say thank you all for tuning in this week. We had an awesome show. Thank you for calling in, Alicia Lattimore. Thank you for calling in, Ashley. Thank you, Lisa, for hanging in there with me. Nicole, happy anniversary again. I see you. Thank you for tuning in, taking the time, because one of the things that I want you all to realize is time is precious. So for you to take the time to tune in and listen to me rattle on about some stuff for 45 to 50 minutes to an hour, that means a lot to me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to uphold my end of the bargain. I said 1,000 shows. Antonio came on last week and said, no, you can't do 1,000. 1,000 has to be phase one. So I'm working on phase one. This is my 21st show, and we just warming up. So we got a lot of great things happening. We're going to be helping a lot of people, and I just need your help. So I appreciate you. I thank you for taking the time out your busy day to listen to someone like me. on a weekly basis. So spread the word. Let people know we're doing something positive over here. They can catch me every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. on the Daily Bread Radio Show. Working on a television deal, working on a TV show deal with a couple people. So y'all keep me, lifted up. Hopefully this thing will work out, and then I can get me a little TV show. That way I won't just be on Facebook, but I'll be in a little TV studio as well. So working on that as well. We got some stuff cooking in the kitchen. We cooking it. We warming up. But thank you all. Y'all have a blessed day. And I'll see you all next week. Same place, same time, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Daily Bread Radio Show. Love y'all. Peace.